Hi everybody, it's me, Andrew. I'm here with Allison and Laurel.
She's shopping.
Perks of being in a bead
Right.
store. If you're just tuning in, we're doing our first ever live unboxing of a limited edition kit. We have been having some technical difficulties, so you're just gonna have to bear with us. We're not. If you didn't get to see, there's much prettier pictures on the website of all of these goodies that you can get at allegorygallery.com. So one of the components that's in the kit is this new laser cut wood pendant. I designed this last night just for this kit. And I thought that it might be fun. You can leave it just as it is and it's really nice, or you can do different surface treatments. And I thought that I would do some and then Laurel would do some, and if you want to try your hand at some, you can do some also. So we had the Ligonier Art Walk this weekend, and since it's over, I have leftover postcards. So what we're going to do is waste not and want not, and we're going to use these as backdrops. Usually when you're mixing paint colors, I recommend using a white background or a neutral background. That will give you the clearest of color perceptions. When you have these kinds of different colors, it will do what's called a cast color or a cast color shadow, and will change the way that the color looks in your eye. So if you're mixing colors, use the white or a different color that's a neutral. Generally it doesn't matter, but if you're mixing a color that's custom, then you'll want to do that. Today I'm going to be demonstrating two different techniques with coloring the pendants, and I'm going to start with Swelligant. Swelligant is a product that's developed by Christy Friesen. It comes in a variety of different colors, patinas, and dyes. We're going to go easy today, and we're going to start off by using our prep. The prep is basically a primer or a gesso for your surface. This allows the patina to properly coat your piece and allow it to get all good and not have the splotchy coverage.
And this is a must do or a should do?
This depends on what it is.
Okay.
If you have a porous material, then you can skip this step.
Okay.
If you have slightly glossy areas, then you should probably do this step. We use a maple plywood. There's a binder in this, and the binder is has a plasticizer in it. So it can kind of be tricky to do some of the different paints and stuff.
Yeah.
So really, you should just play around if you're looking for new techniques, because it can be surprising what you find. Usually I do a lot of techniques where I dye pieces with alcohol inks, and that doesn't always work. So instead of working in really thick layers, I'm just going to do thin layers on top of my laser cut wooden component that we made. We have this and more of the components on allegorygallery.com. I recommend you looking at those after I'm done talking, because if you look at them, then we get distracted.
So I should pull them over to the camera.
And so you can be as precise as you like or not. I'm not super fickle. There's some people who come out here with like a laser level and do all kinds of things like that. I'm not one of those people. I'm kind of smear it on and hope for the best. But what I'm doing right now is I'm just covering it with the Swelligant prep. This gets the surface nice and ready for the patina. And this is just one of the many techniques that you can do. This is really great for the mixed media artists out there who are interested in expanding their colors and their surface treatments into their wearable art and jewelry. Now, when you're creating a piece that's going to be worn, you want to think about how it's going to be, what the wear and tear on it is going to be. If you have a piece that's a structural piece with a lot of movement, you might want to coat this several times.
What about against your skin, too?
It will be fine. Some of the patinas, they're real patinas. There's actually ground up metal that's a fine particulate that's mixed with the surface treatment. And so there is actually a chemical reaction. So I don't know about you, but I don't like rust on my, on my bare skin. What happened?
Nothing.
She
You
wants
need
another
more?
leaf.
Could I have
We're
some
trading.
leaves?
I'll trade
Sure.
you the leaf.
Oh, I want all your leaves. Are you
Here,
your
go
leaves?
dig it.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you.
I got extra.
Oh, it's nice to know people.
And then while I'm doing this, take a look at what Allison and Laurel are doing, because otherwise I'm gonna hog it all.
I like
Yeah.
to work with the wax linen that comes in the kit. It's the first thing I grab.
It's always the first thing you
Yeah,
grab.
and I
You're
even
so talented.
Grab
at it.
Laurel's.
Yes, absolutely.
trade.
I always give her my wax linen.
She gets my seed beads.
I don't like how it feels on my hands, so I don't work with
So
it.
I do a lot of knotting, and right now I'm trying to decide how to make my.
Let's hold it over the tray
Clasp
so we
loop.
can
Oh,
see.
okay.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to decide how to make my loop for the clasp. This is my button type clasp, and I'm gonna do a seed bead loop. Probably gonna just about to use these seed beads. They have a. Probably
Oh,
can
you're
get
gonna do a
3
seed bead
strands.
loop?
Yeah, I can probably
Yeah,
get
that's
3
nice.
strands through that seed bead, so
I
it'll
like
make
the
a nice.
texture.
So is that one whole strand of wax linen
This
that
is
you
one
cut
strand.
into 3?
No, I don't even cut it. It's it's cut, but 3-4 strands.
Okay. So that's enough from one packet to
one
do
packet.
that project.
We can get this entire bracelet, and then all this leftovers to make earrings.
Oh yeah, it's really cool.
Matching earrings.
I did a simple string
What'd you
with
do?
mine. I
It's
just
not
took some.
simple,
Yeah,
though.
sure it is. I'm very simple in my stringing.
Well,
I like
it's
the beads to
easy,
talk.
but it's not simple.
Well, I like the
Oh.
beads to talk for themselves,
Right,
but
right.
like you like knotting. I don't
Yes.
really love knotting. I'm more of a crimper. So I took the focal and I took some of the bigger pieces, and then the chips just make it easy. And then a really pretty little flower clasp that we sell in the back of the shop for what, like $1.50, and boom, it's done.
Look at the color.
You're
Colors
already
pull out
done?
that. I know. Look how
Done.
it pulls out that.
Yeah, in
I
the
do
time that it
one.
took you to
Look
make
at how
one
much she has
one
left.
head pin,
Yeah.
but I have a ton of stuff
Yeah.
left.
So we traded. She gave me her with linen, and I gave her the
Some leaves. Yeah,
One
so
of
I'm
my
gonna whip up something
Next
fun
project.
with like little dangly
Right.
leaves while Andrew was talking about his swelligant beauty over there.
Oh, I'm gonna let this swell again dry.
Oh, swell.
All right, so I'm gonna pick up. I rinsed out this brush that I use as a prep, which I have extra. So it looks like I'm gonna be doing a couple different pendants in the near future. And the next product that I'm gonna use is the vintage patinas. Now, they're not real patinas in the sense that they're not reactive to the surface of a metal. They're a coating. These are also best if you heat set them. So after you're done, go on to their website, which you can Google, Vintage, VINTAJ. It's probably .com. If not, I'm sure we'll provide links. But so once you paint these on, you'll want to heat set them, and that will cook it in real good. And you want to start with a dry brush. Make sure it's dry, completely dry, because if you use something that is wet, it will curdle the patina, and you'll be like, this isn't my favorite thing. So make it your favorite thing by using a dry brush.
Oh.
And I'm going to pick out some different colors. I like this rose gold.
I love that rose gold. I saw that when I was shaking them.
You want to make sure that these are shooken.
Shaken? Shaken?
Shaken.
Not stirred.
Shaken, not stirred.
Shaken.
Very James Bond.
Yeah, you don't get much action when you stir it. If you shake it, well, you know, it's shake
Sound
and bake,
effects.
and I help.
And you get the sound effects.
Okay, so I love this color, but you know what? I want it to have a little bit more juice in it.
Okay.
So I'm gonna add just a dot of the.
What color?
Do we have red garnet, and antique copper. If you are sensitive to chemicals, you might just want to open a window. Also, one of my tips is to have a needle on hand, not for any kind of mischievous drug use or anything, but to keep the nozzles free and flowing if they should be blocked.
Okay.
And right now I'm just mixing the colors. I want to make sure that I have the dry brush. Okay, that's nice, but it's actually taking on kind of a mauvey.
Yeah, it's pretty though. Oh, there you go. Let me get it down.
I don't know. Maybe I wanted a little bit more gold in there.
Gold.
So I'll add a couple more drops of this antique copper. And really, I could do this all day. I'd probably be really high from all of the chemicals, but I like that. And so with this product, you don't necessarily need it. You can, to do a surface prep, if you have a super shiny surface, you might want to think about it. You can also take a piece of sandpaper and lightly abrade the surface. But I've had luck just painting directly on it. So I'm doing, of course, very precise, even strokes all the way across. You can barely see a brush stroke. It's self-leveling, by the way. And if you wanted to...
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Unless you, like, goop it on. And you could even do an ombre effect if you wanted.
A bad ombre?
Yeah.
Fans.
Sorry.
We'll avoid that.
Sorry, I couldn't help myself. It was really funny.
We'll start at the tip.
It's ruined it for me, though, you know?
No. So many things have been ruined.
This
but
is
anyways.
so true.
So,
Meanwhile, back at allegorygallery.com in our Etsy store.
well, actually, a lot of the pieces and products are available directly from the website. So you don't even have to go to Etsy if you don't want to. So, hey, check it out. I did something fancy.
Oh.
Ooh, I love that. It's really pretty in person. Y'all should be here.
Metallic.
Please come visit us.
Yes, we do have classes. We have classes. Did you guys want to talk about it?
Sure. So we have classes on Mondays. What is it? Every Monday.
Monday,
From
Wednesday.
noon to 4, and then every Wednesday, also from noon to 4, and then on the, first and third, we have late night at the shop, which is until 7. And we also have a book club. You want to take that one,
That's
Allison?
fourth.
Yes, it's
fourth
always the
Wednesday.
last
Last.
Wednesday of the month.
That's inspired by reading.
Last Wednesday.
And you can find that on on Facebook, Inspired by Reading
And that's
Book Club.
nationwide, right?
Yeah, totally nationwide.
Even-
So you guys can get the book and take a
Anyone
look.
can
and
read. Anyone can
Yeah.
join in and make a project. Not always jewelry.
No, it does not have to be jewelry.
You made shoes one time.
I think
Yeah.
I've made
A few
2 pairs of
times.
shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always say when I tell people, someone made brewed beer one time.
Yeah, that was
and
Sarah
made
Jo's husband.
shoes,
Yep,
right? And
yep,
someone
yep.
made shoes. So it doesn't even have to be crafty. It can be just anything made.
Anything
You were
to get you
inspired
making
to
something.
Be inspired to make. Right?
Yeah.
And say you don't like the book, you can be inspired
Yeah,
that way
I was
too.
inspired by
A lot of
multiple
books.
covers. I'm
Yeah,
not gonna
because they're all
lie.
me.
I have been very busy in my life lately, and I have not had time to read, let alone make anything. But I'm getting better. So.
And that we also have camaraderie. So even if you don't get to read all of the book, I know some of the book selections are a bit big.
But
So
we try to be very varied in
Yeah.
those selections.
Well,
so
I know
there's
for
always
me,
something for someone.
I know that I would not pick a lot of the books that
Oh,
we read,
no.
not because you guys take me out of my genre.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
like an easy
Never
read
go
that's
there.
just kind of like a twist on reality, and you guys take me into some genres that I've never really enjoyed.
Absolutely.
But, you know, for instance, that Paula was it Braxton? She did The White Witch or The Silver Witch. I picked up several other books and I loved them. And I can't wait for her new one to come out.
I'm excited.
I'm very excited. It's also kind of cool because Andrew likes to take it a step further. So when we read a book, he often contacts the authors and lets them know that the book club did read the book and people did make projects based on the book. And how many times have you gotten replies back? Quite a few.
Almost every time unless they're dead.
Yeah. So that's kind of cool.
Well, it's nice. It's so weird because as an artist, I'm always so flattered when somebody says, "Oh, I really like your work." But I'm usually very solitary, and I work in my studio and I'm by myself. And so hearing these kind of outside perspectives is nice. It's kind of refreshing.
Yeah, we have a lot of fun with the book club. We have a lot of fun at the table. There's been a lot of people who have come in, kind of like Allison and I did. I know we've kind of been regulars from the very beginning, which, happy 7 years, by the way.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Allegory Gallery.
You were going to be having cake on the weekend sometime. Make sure to stay posted because I don't think we've even figured out what we're going to do.
We don't do it Sunday. I have plans.
Okay.
Is
It's going to be like surprise party for ourselves.
So 7 years this week. Wow.
Yes.
It's so cool.
We actually started back in June, but we didn't officially open the physical location until September, 7 years ago, whatever year that was.
2011?
Sure, let's go with that.
And then you moved to this location.
About 5 years ago. So if you look at the pictures and you're like, that's not what the store looks like,
Right.
there's been a few changes.
Absolutely. For the
But-
better.
Yeah, definitely.
Moving on up.
We've been in this location for about 5 years and we love it. We're busting at the seams, so who knows what's in store for the future. But
Teacher space.
teaching more space for classes, and more space for product because it's piled on top of
Yeah.
itself. For
This
such
book gives
a
it character, though. Honestly.
yeah, and really you have to dig around, and that's part
That's
of the fun.
Every time you come in, there's something new. It seems.
Yeah,
but it's
absolutely.
just
Well, you know what?
uncovered
Another
by-
crazy thing, though, you can come in and it could have been something that has been here for 7
it's
years.
just uncovered by
and
someone.
it's unearthed. And you're like, where's this been? And they're, oh, it's been here. Really?
Surprise!
How did I miss that?
Yeah.
Well, to bring it back to the book club, we are currently doing our selections for next year. We decided to do a very official way instead of
Voting.
just whatever is in my reading stack, and so we're voting this time. So if you go to facebook.com/inspired by reading, then you'll find the book club.
The
I guess
cameraman is
that's-
laughing at us.
He's like, he's making stuff up. Oh, you know, Google
Good to know
it.
your own
We're in
website.
the zone over here.
Yeah,
Some
I'm
credit.
trying to paint.
He's painting leaves, and I'm
Multitasking.
stringing seed beads, which are really tiny.
Oh.
It's allegorygallery.com/clubs and groups.
Oh.
Okay.
So that's Thank you, William.
I will post that in the comments.
All right, thank you.
/clubs and groups.
Good job. Well, we're actually, one of the things that we did when we, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but we were recently, we were champions of the American Small Business Championship.
Right.
We were one of 102 small businesses from across the country. And one of the things that we learned was about how to consolidate things so that people stayed on your website more, as opposed to went to all these different other platforms. So it's helpful to have it all branded under one thing, which we're trying harder to do and take the advice. We also wanted to take a quick moment to congratulate the grand champions, Grindhouse Radio, Pip and Grow, and the original My Buddy Towel. Congratulations. Congratulations also to the other winners who were recently featured at the SCORE 2018 Awards in Washington, D.C.
Wow.
So good job, guys.
Good job, you guys too. You guys did a great job.
I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do with this.
All right. Can you mix the patina and the swirling?
You can try it.
I don't try it. You try it.
I like to not try things on the TV.
Oh, I see. You're going back to that one. Okay.
Yeah. So this is dry, and this is actually dry already, which is fun. I did actually a couple different
coats. Differently on each side. Yeah. That'll look cool when it swirls around on your neck.
Or if you got two kids, you make earrings. I should have actually planned that out better then. But, oh cool. Well. You know, mix and match.
Absolutely.
But, so right now I've got the metal coating. This is silver. I'm going to be adding the silver metal coating from Swelligan directly onto the prepped wooden laser cut surface. I might have to dump it out very carefully in a precise and controlled way, as I normally do. And usually when I'm working on something where I have to do multiple steps, I usually have a lot of different projects going at the same time. That way, if there's wait time, then I'm not just waiting for paint to dry, literally. I can let this dry and then go work on this. In my house, in my personal studio, I have several different setups. I'm sure William loves that, but I have a setup in my personal studio. I've got a couple stations. I have a soldering station. We have a photo room station. Downstairs, there's a polymer clay area. There's also a painting area. And in the basement, there's another section that hopefully I'm going to set up my electroforming stuff.
That's fun.
Which, by the way, we're going to do electroforming soon.
So good. What's that exactly?
So, lots of science,
Oh.
but in a delightful way. So one of the things so the laser that we got is one that you can have in a home. You don't necessarily need to have it and have professional cooling and all kinds of venting and stuff.
Oh, okay.
So with that, you can't do metal. There's some lasers that are super high, high outputage or whatever it's called. They can do metal and stone and different things like that. We can do a thing where we add designs to metal and stone, or remove the anodized coating on like aluminum. But we can't engrave metal or cut metal with the laser that we have. But we like the metal, and we like the look of the pieces that we're creating. Mm-hmm. So one of the things that we thought would be cool is if we took these wooden components, or maybe acrylic, depends on what it is, and electroform those and add another dimension to them. And really I was inspired by Hamilton Gold, which is a electroform plastic from the old times, and they would put a little bit of gold in it to make it work somehow. And yeah, so we're going to be eventually doing that.
I can't wait for that.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun.
So who's out there in Facebook land right now?
Yeah, who's watching part 3?
We have Julie Doolin, Alice Craddock,
Oh, hello.
Alice Cashin,
got some of these components.
Jennifer Fairman.
Oh, hello. All kinds of goodies.
Absolutely.
All right. So while these are drying, did you want to talk about the other
Sure.
surface embellishments?
Sure.
Oh, let's bring Laura.
So, in my bag of tricks, I have one of the things that I like to do in addition to any kind of beading and whatnot is rubber stamping. And I got into it in 1994 whenever friends of mine asked me to make their wedding invitations. So back in the day, they only had the color box ink pads and embossing powders and stamps on wooden blocks. And I'd like to tell you that the stamping industry has completely changed. I used to have boxes upon boxes upon boxes of these stamps on these thick wooden blocks. And I got smart a couple of years ago when I did some research and realized that the stamping industry was doing flat sheets that you basically pop out of the rubber. They were stored in flat CD cases instead of these bulky boxes.
Show them, Laurel.
I will. So they went from these, which this is a big background stamp. I mean, most of the time they're like a quarter of this size.
You can cuss somebody with it.
Right. To these nice thin little CD or DVD cases, really. And for those of you who don't know what a DVD is, because you stream everything, or these CDs that you can watch movies on. So they made it really easy. This is a line that I've actually repped for. It's called Stampin' Up. They're a company that I've actually got to meet the owner a couple of times at seminar. I used to rep for them, I think 3 times on and off throughout the years, but they're kind of my people in the rubber stamp world. So if I would ever have more time on my hands, I would gladly go back and rep for them because they really know their products and they do it really well. So back to my little sequence of time, I had so much space that was devoted to storage of this stuff that I unmounted everything except for my background stamps. They're pretty nice to have already done. I just left those alone. But I unmounted everything and put it on a foam backing, and now I only use these acrylic blocks.
We have some rubber stampers listening.
Oh!
Deborah Snyder said she's a rubber stamper. She loves to make cards.
Yeah.
And Julie Doolin said she learned something today. She had a rubber stamp business for 17 years.
Wow. So that's my tribe of people. The paper crafters. So yeah, it was really funny when Andrew messaged me today. He was like, "Get your stuff." And I've been looking for my heat gun. I moved in June, and I've been looking for it prior to that. I honestly thought that it ended up in my ex-husband's work bin or somewhere, but I found it. It's been resurrected. So now that I have the space for my rubber stamping stuff, I can buy more beads, and I can buy more papers and fibers and all sorts of stuff.
Mixed media.
Yeah, absolutely. That'll be our next thing.
Mm-hmm.
So basically what I'm going to do right now is I cannot find my ink pad, but when you emboss stuff, you have to have a stickier medium, like an ink. It can't be a, what do they call it, like an alcohol-based ink. It can't be this. This is actually an alcohol ink, but there are different kinds of stuff. Like I mentioned Color Box, they do a pigment dye, and the pigment dyes tend to work, they dry really slowly, so they're really nice for embossing because they already come colored and you can just put clear embossing powder over top of stuff. I kind of wish I had a brayer for this, but
What's that?
basically this stuff is a Versamark and it's for embossing. It's just a clear But like I said, if you have any of the color box stuff, or I'm sure that Stampin' Up, if you use their line, they have a crafter's ink, and I had a white pad that I could have brought, but I didn't. So basically, I just kind of put it in this tray, and I used the glossy
Our
side.
friend Amber from Pip and Grow is watching.
Oh, good. Hi, Amber.
Congratulations, Amber.
I put it in the tray, and I'm kind of spreading it out a little bit. I wish I had a brayer so that it's not too goopy, because if it's too goopy, then it's not going to design well.
And a brayer is basically a rolling pin that's on a handle.
I think I'm going to go with a bigger stamp, and the only reason I'm going to do this, I'm using snowflakes, but just because you have a snowflake doesn't mean that you're stuck on the design that's on the stamp. So given that our component is only yay big,
And there's holes
through there, it's just going to give it a really cool texture, and you'll never even know that it was a snowflake.
Mm-hmm.
Same with if I use any of these flowered stamps, I can always stamp off the edges and pick up any kinds of patterns, or I could use the words and pick up those patterns. So stamps are really cool because not only can you use them for your jewelry, you can use them for clay, you can use them for paper, you can use them for, art, mixed medium. They're really cool, and they've come so far since 1994. I mean, literally, I'm glad to see embossing powder coming back, because this was it back in the day. That's it.
Our friend Kathleen is now watching.
Hi, Kathleen.
So what I'm gonna do,
Crickets.
I need to plug in my heat tool, and I should have brought a piece of paper with me. Let me do that really quickly.
Do you
We
need,
have paper.
I just need like a plain piece of paper. I didn't really think it through. Oh God. Don't burn your friends. Yeah, that's good. I'm not gonna be using a ton of embossing powder, but I think this is good. So I'm going to switch out my block.
do you need the cookie sheet?
I think I'm gonna be okay, because I'm just gonna blot this a little
So
bit.
the stamp goes on the block.
So the stamp goes on the block, and they're interchangeable. But see,
It just sticks on there.
well, this is the sticky stuff. See
That's
how
long.
goopy that is? I'm gonna have to stamp it off a little bit. Okay, so see how it's goopy? I don't know if you
Yeah.
can you see it on camera?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
So what we'll do, just so I can show you guys how this works, is, and there are like tons of other tools. You could buy like a Stampin' Buddy where you emboss, and it's like a tray. So I'm just gonna shake some powder on there, and then shake the excess off. So you can see how it's still clear on that side.
Kathleen says it's time to bust out the Halloween stuff.
Oh
So we're
yeah,
already into winter here with snowflakes.
absolutely. So I'm gonna do a little ombre too, and this stuff has some gold in it and some sparkle.
Well, you never know in southwestern Pennsylvania. Sometimes you do get it.
Well, you know what? It
The
was
leaves come
really
down.
cold a couple weekends ago, which is kind of funny. So this isn't the best, most clear, most crisp, because like I said, I don't have an actual ink pad, and I'm trying to make it happen in the best way I know how, but I did stamp some off on this. So here's one of my favorite things about embossing. It's literally magic in the making. So I'm going to turn on my heat gun. And you can literally watch the stuff melt in front of your eyes. So I'm just going to come over, and I don't get too close to the paper, but you'll watch it just instantly transform. See where it's starting to transform there?
Yeah. So it's melting into the medium that we put it on?
Yep. It's like a glue.
Yeah. And can you put it on any porous medium?
You can put it on anything. So like you can make your place cards and all of that jazz on paper. You can do it on canvas once you've painted it and made it pretty, but it just makes a really nice little raised image, and it gives it some texture and some chutzpah to a design. So what I'm going to do now is the same thing, but I'm just going to do it on the leaf of the pendant. And I hope it's not too goopy, but I don't think it is. So the terminology here is I'm going to stamp it off the side,
Okay.
but I'll be able to see it once I pick it up, where the pattern is, hopefully. So it's really hard to see in here, but once I put the powder on top of it, we'll be able to see it.
Need another.
I think I'm going to go darker. I'm not going to do like an ombre on this one. Didn't I have a navy? Shoot. I thought I pulled a navy out. I'm going to do this one then.
Yeah.
Here's a piece of paper too.
Sure, if I have. I don't know where I put it, but. Oh, good. That's great.
So
I don't love to mix my powders like this mess over here, but you know, you do what you gotta do.
Gold
Don't
on
mix
gold
them.
is good.
Don't mix them in the bucket either. in the
Yeah, I
container
mean,
either,
yeah.
huh?
So I'm just gonna, it's already on there, and I'm just gonna put it on and hope it's not too heavy. It might be a little bit heavy. And just tap it off. This is a bigger pattern, but it's kind of cool because you weren't gonna get that pattern originally. So let's light it up and see what happens. And I always do it off of the workspace because you never know what you're gonna heat onto things. But yeah, see how it changes? This is like a metallic-y blue, peacocky kind of color. And it just melted right on there. And kind of like Andrew did with his, I can go ahead and I'm just gonna do a little bit of this while it's still hot and see if it takes it. See, we can all be scientists. I know it's really hard to see for our audience, but it blends in there really nicely. And then it doesn't come off. Well, maybe it did because it's still wet, but yeah. So let me see what I can do with the other side, or if I can add some more blue to it, because I feel like I did wipe it off a little bit, like right here in the center.
You could do a different pattern on the other side and melt
Yeah.
it from that side too.
I just want to make sure it's nice and cool, because
Yeah.
I did get it on my finger when I touched
Alice
it.
Craddock is asking, will it ever drip on the floor? Does it get that liquid?
It shouldn't. I mean, if you have a ton of it on there, there's some stuff called extra thick embossing powder, which is meant to,
Oh, right behind you.
yeah, extra thick embossing powder. Tim Holtz used to have these things called, I want to say hot pots or something like that. And you could actually put this huge layer of stuff onto paper or wood and then use your stamps to kind of just push images into it.
And
Kind
Susie
of like-
Weinberg, didn't she used to...
Yeah. I think I've seen some of those liquid paint things where they put it onto a cutting board or whatever, and they kind of do the marbling, and it's just like that same effect. But I don't really think you can get this heated up again if you were going to wash it or whatever. So I'm just going to heat this up one more time to blend that extra stuff in. But I know you can do multiple layers. I've never had it drip off, ever.
Maybe if you just like hold it on there and
Well, I don't want to do that because I actually have I've burnt the paper. And actually I can smell this burning on the wood a little bit, but I think it was just because I got it a little bit closer than the last time. So I'm going to take this one more time, and I'm just going to hold it onto the back of the pendant, which I know I moved it, but that's going to be cool. It's going to give it a cool effect. And I'm going to take our stuff that we mixed.
a custom blend.
It's totally a custom blend. You too can make a custom blend.
And you know what's funny? It's just like
I'm sorry. That was
Okay.
it's just like enameling.
It's just like enameling. It's like the same exact.
That's what it reminded me of. When
Principle.
We did that
Except
enameling with cube.
powdered glass, it's like a powdered plastic.
And then don't forget any kind of stuff that has the sparkle in it. The sparkles can definitely burn. So you want to make sure that you don't go too heavy with your sparkly stuff because you're going to get a completely different image. So this is just one way to give it a different kind of color or patina. See how it's nice and I don't know if twisting it makes it better, but now it starts with powder and then it turns into the stuff. But this is like magic. It's so much fun. You can see it turning on the side, the left side.
Oh, Dawn's watching.
Hey, Dawn. So yeah, I mean, it's not like a super intense color, but it's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I mean, if you wanted that coated on the other side, you could maybe color it with a marker or color it with some extra stuff to
fill in.
give it a different dimension. Because this is actually sparkly. I think this is actually a pearlescent. So it's definitely got some peacockiness to it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the little glittery bits.
Nice.
Yeah.
So a note of safety: don't lick your fingers. If you're
Don't
working
sniff
with
the powder.
Don't snort the powders. And then also, if you're working like she's doing, close up as you go sometimes, because if you accidentally knock, then you're sad in your life.
Yeah. Also, another good tip, if you're working with paper and you don't have all of your goop covered up, you can end up with little remnants, but it's kind of cool because they stick to the paper. So you have a nice little paper that you can use. So again, reduce, reuse, recycle.
Yeah.
Everything is always usable. Like we could probably put this in a hot pot and melt it. It would be fun.
Or there you go, make a custom paper.
Make a custom paper. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do. I absolutely love snowflakes. So there we go. I'll be over here making some snowflakes. You make your Hawaiian leaves. I'm gonna be making snowflakes.
Well, hopefully we will be avoiding the snowflakes this winter and visiting the Hawaiian leaves.
Allison and I are going to come along in the suitcase.
We'll have a big suitcase.
A very big suitcase.
There's other people who
I think that's called
stowing
human
away.
trafficking. Just, maybe.
Which is a very real and serious thing.
Yes, we're not knocking it, but in the
well, we
event
are knocking
that
it. It's very illegal.
in the event that we want to be somewhere warmer than what we have now, we will be human trafficking ourselves.
In a delightful sharing sort of way.
Yeah, but it's a benefit. We have teaching skills too.
Yeah. Jamie, I hope you have a big apartment. We're going to be sleeping in your house, Filipino.
I finished the bracelet and I was just about to make earrings to match with Andrew's head pins that he made earlier.
Wow.
So that head pins that Andrew made, I'm gonna turn into some earrings.
Those are super cute. On an almond style ear wire, something little and simple like that goes really far in its design.
Oh, definitely.
John Berger joined us. So classy, guys.
Hi, Chief.
Hi.
Even the Chief gets crafty sometimes.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to light up these snowflakes really quickly.
On the
Yeah.
paper?
Light them up.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
It's my favorite thing. I hope you can see it change. It's so cool. It's like, I don't know. I've loved it since 1994. I've never strayed away. Well, I got my aunts into it like hardcore, and then life happened and kids happened, and I didn't have time, but they're still stamping. We used to call it stamping with the aunties. Can you see it changing?
I think so.
I love it. So cool.
Can you all out there see it changing?
And I'm not a perfect stamper by any means. Some people really, really, really don't like the little glistens on the side, and they get a paintbrush and they wipe it all off. And I'm kind of like, hey, it was handmade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Embrace the imperfections. Isn't that cool?
That's great.
It's super cool.
Yeah.
I love it.
I sense a new night coming to Allegory
Uh-huh.
Gallery.
I know. We can do card. Well,
Tuesdays are
all
open.
this. We need blanks. We need some wooden blanks now that we know that it works. And
Well, how about all of these?
well, absolutely. You could do the backs. Their backs are actually really cute. If you have an image like this tag, perfect. So
nice
we've got
image.
these great little images that Andrew came up with, and then you could do something really cool on the back.
Let's try it.
Okay.
Double-sided.
Well, I don't know what I have that was...
Put you on the spot.
Yeah, right?
Do it.
Do it now.
Okay.
Dance.
Well, you know what? I'm going to take this crazy...
Just the background.
yeah, the background stamp. And I'm going to swap out
What about
my
the flowers?
acrylic. Well, it's a deer. A deer and the flowers. I don't know about So I think this is nice and gooped out. Yeah, so it's nice and sticky, but it's not overly sticky. It's just how it should be. So it's almost like being on an ink pad. So this is kind of like a herringbone, which is kind of like a dad pattern. I missed one spot on there. I can't get it for some reason. It's right here. Yeah, it's not right picking it up. But that's okay because you know what? That's what's cool about stamping. You never want it to be perfect. I mean, some people do. They're
Amy
like
Lowe
really
just joined
super.
us.
Can you take a brush? Can you have a brush and just brush it onto the
You could.
stamp?
You can kind of see it on there. It's just going to be blank in the middle. You could.
Yeah.
I can't get over. They just stick on. They just stick
Yeah.
on glass.
I know.
Well, it's an
Like
acrylic
clear.
stamp, and then the way they have
Yeah.
it, it's like a patented thing. They are all about it. I'm gonna just take like a green and how about this blue that I was looking for earlier? And I have been collecting embossing powders for years. I mean, this is from Art Tech. They're not even in business anymore.
Oh no.
They were one of the first people around here that sold stamps. And you could go in there and I would just spend like hours looking at their stuff. I'm
Was it
sorry, I'm
physical
not doing this
location?
really. Yeah, I was down on
Greensburg,
Pittsburgh Street in
right?
Greensburg.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Those are really
All
cool
the Seton Hill kids would go there because, oops, shoot. Well, that happened, but it's okay because it didn't pick up everything.
You can really see the pattern in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not perfect, and that's okay.
Organic.
Some people really insist that their cards should be perfect and their design should be perfect. They don't have to be perfect. Nothing in life is perfect.
Wabi
Hate to
sabi.
break it to y'all.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of did an ombre. You can do just a regular, and this design isn't perfect, so let's see what we get. And you do want to watch your fingers, because sometimes it burns. This is a different brand, so it's not really heating up as fast.
Julie
Maybe
likes
it's sucking
handmade. She
in.
says handmade is beautiful.
I can't really tell if it's turning or not.
Our friend Terry Powell just joined us.
You just have to get sight.
I'm watching by sight, and I'm smelling the wood starting to just get heated up, which it smells really good.
Well, the wood is soaked up. I mean, you could smell it good.
Yeah, some people do use tweezers to do this, but I am a badass, and I am not. I do not value my
I
fingerprints.
do have many
apparently.
tools on the table.
Yeah, right? I also have a tabletop that I could be working on, but here's the bag of stuff, and this is my hot mess down here. So yeah, this isn't as great, but it's still pretty cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
Let's see. Oh,
I like
looks
that.
good.
But if you have really quick fingers, you can always heat it up, and you can get crazy if you have an extra hand and pour stuff on it to make it thicker.
Right.
Right?
No. Do your own.
Pretty cool.
You got the
How's it
ones.
going over there?
We're getting crafty over here. Not that you're not getting crafty.
Oh,
Here,
I
hit
am.
it with a heat gun.
What am I hitting with
Laurel.
the heat gun?
This guy.
Oh, does it need to dry?
Yeah.
Watch your fingers.
Like Laurel, I have asbestos finger.
I think it's good because it should
A
totally
lot of
turn.
restaurant work.
Ooh, look at the ink starting to run with the. Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
that's pretty.
Look at the beauty.
it's awesome. Ooh, look at that run in there. Oop, it's starting to bubble. I got it too hot. You can fix it though if you take it back over with the heat gun, or you smash it.
Smash the bubble.
That didn't work out that great. Maybe if I tried harder.
You're still a little wet. So does that stuff stay tacky? It has to be heated to dry?
It helps it to set it. If they re-smash the bubbles out.
Yeah, that's good.
Oh, there's Lydia watching.
Hey, Lydia.
Hi.
Lydia
A long time no
Hi.
see. We had our Monday night or Monday afternoon
Yeah.
Making tape.
group. And they were here earlier. I said, you guys can stay. It'll be like live studio audience.
Can I mix the paintbrush as long as it stays dry?
As long as the brush is dry,
Okay.
you can mix it.
That's a jankety brush.
Wow, it's been loved.
Well loved.
Well loved.
Absolutely. This table's gonna be so gross from this powder. People are like, what is that?
That won't be the first time that stuff has been on this table.
That's funny.
This table used to be turquoise.
Oh, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
You can actually see
You can
it in
see
the
it on
corner.
some corners, yeah. And whatever was before that too.
I think it was a
Purple.
brick red, and then there was a wood.
It would be cool to sand it down. And then
Looks like a
clear
dark
coat on
wood
it.
actually.
I saw a
Original?
floor like that in one of my mom's Santa Fe magazines, and I always wanted to do that. Like apply like 80,000 coats of paint and then sand it off so it was like.
Oh, those are alcohol.
I might do it.
Like
I have that hardwood
Fordite?
floor that I absolutely hate, so it might happen.
Have you guys heard
What?
of Fordite?
Mm-hmm.
Where the car paint layers?
I
Yeah,
love
that's
that.
awesome.
There was a new one. Somebody's making like a surf fight or something from the surfboards.
Surfboards.
Oh, I've seen
Yeah.
those.
Yeah, it's cool.
And one of the other things that you could do if you wanted to do that is if you use milk paints, which are called casing, and you built up layers on crumbled up
Mm-hmm.
paper bag,
Yeah.
and then it gives it kind of like a leathery
Oh.
look. We'll have to do that.
Yeah.
That'd be really fun.
Another surface treatment. So right now at current, we've done. Allison has done some knotting with waxed linen. Laurel has
You're right.
strung probably 3 pieces by now.
Well, now I'm on to melting stuff onto
Yeah.
your pendants. I'm kind of like,
Where was
I
the
love
one
it.
you were looking
Embossing.
Oh, here's what she was
Heat
looking
embossing?
Donna Wong just joined us. Aloha.
Hello, another Hawaii
Wow.
for.
friend.
Oh, wow. Here's the second
What time
one.
is
We
it
all
there?
need to go to
Oh
Hawaii.
boy.
That
Donna
one
and
was
them are
We
so,
have a fan club there.
are so fun. They
Terry
Yeah.
said, I think you could duplicate the look of Fordite with polymer clay too.
Oh,
and she would
yeah.
know.
All right, I'm gonna heat this up one more time. Another live action embossing. Ooh, with some dog hair. Ooh.
Probably cat.
Nothing is.
No, I think it's mine. I think it's dog and cat. Oh my god, I'm definitely losing a fingertip here.
Our friend Diane is now watching.
Ay, ay, ay.
Yeah, use some tools.
What did he say about safety earlier? What?
Do as we say.
Not as we do. All right. Well, now I'm doing a left-hand emboss. So, wow. Okay, see it starting to change? Kind of looks like fungus, but it's cool. But it's neat.
Looks like moss agate, like
Yeah.
moss growing through
Oh,
Nice.
Gun, how I've missed you. This was like one of the happiest moments of my
When you found
day
that
today.
today,
I was like, oh my god. Yeah, that's cool, right?
That's neat.
And it's a blend of only 4 different kinds of embossing powder.
Nice. Good job. A custom blend. Hey, that looks good.
Little camo.
Oh, I like that.
It looks good.
Brings out all the lime green in the kit.
So, to catch us up to date, if you're just joining us now,
over there.
we are doing our unboxing for our limited edition kit. The kits are $20 plus shipping. They're available at allegorygallery.com. This has kind of been picked over, so check out the website and you'll see all of the goodies all splayed out. I don't know what the current availability is, but hopefully if you are desirous of one, you'll be able to get one. We only have 10, so if you want one, make sure to get
I
one.
like that.
I can mix them before I paint, right?
We've had a little
absolutely.
bit of some technical difficulties in the beginning, but I think we're good now. To start, Allison did some knotted pieces with her bracelet and made some earrings. Laurel did a necklace and started a second necklace. Embossing powders. We learned how to do head pins. We did vintage patinas. We did swelligans and embossing powders. And what else? That's a lot.
That's a lot.
How?
All packed into, oh, I'm not wearing my watch. 1 hour.
Exactly.
Fun and excitement.
Exactly.
So I think on that note, we are going to call it a day. We might stay here and get crafty, but we'll post whatever we make online and let you see the finished results. So make sure to stop by allegorygallery.com, go to our online store, check out our special edition kit. This is the first one, hopefully of many. We had fun. We'll have
Great idea.
other local guests visiting and hopefully sharing their favorite tips, tricks, and techniques for happy jewelry making. Bye, guys.
Bye.